Hi, I'm Sarah Wilcomerson. I'm here at EW.com with writer-director Peter Sattler and the cast of Camp X-Ray, straight from their first screening here at Sundance Film Festival. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I heard there was a standing ovation today.
People were standing.
People stand?
Yeah.
I was like,
It's interesting.
It
was an interesting reaction because the movie has such this weird bittersweet ending. So it's an interesting thing to like stand up and
clap to that.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling. It's a weird. I always have that weird mixed feeling. We're just like, oh, the movie's great, but then I'm like, oh, I feel so bittersweet and torn up inside at the
Hooray
end.
for emotion.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
all.
there's plenty of
Yeah.
emotion in the movie.
Why don't you explain what the movie is about?
Very briefly, it is about a young girl played by Kristen here who joins the military, looking for some purpose, trying to do something important with her life, and she ends up stationed at Guantanamo Bay, where things are again not really as black and white as she would kind of want them to be, and is what she's kind of craving. And then while she's there, she meets a detainee played by Payman Mahdi here, and the movie is really about their kind of relationship and kind of how they have to deal with each other on a day-to-day basis, and they have these kind of very weird and ups and downs as they both kind of struggle to make their way through this.
I'm curious about what kind of preparation the three of you guys did to get ready for your parts.
Well, I mean, honestly speaking, my preparation was probably a little bit different. Obviously, coming from Prison Break and my own experience in prison, I sort of knew who these characters were and who this man was, because I encountered a lot of prison guards that were like this man. So it was nice for me to not play a prisoner for once or live like a prisoner, but to actually play a prison guard. And
it was about figuring out who this girl was. You know nothing about her. You're given no details or insight into her actual life or who she is, and so we wanted to figure out, where she came from, why she's there, and hopefully, it was going to be felt rather than, directly told to the audience.
Right.
So we did a lot of talking. Like we just, I wrote poetry, sent it to him.
No, she did. It was totally legit. I mean, it was a really interesting way. We were just like firing back and forth word clouds that were just like little snippets or toeholds into like who this girl was, and like be like, oh, I remember this girl I went to high school with. She was like this, and just like, oh yeah, that's exactly who this girl is like.
Yeah.
A lot of just kind of trying to piece together, because it's a very nuanced performance, and that just takes a lot of layering in order to pull that off right, which I think you did.
she's amazing in this film. She is
She's
amazing.
right here.
I know she is. We want to make sure she knows how good she is in this.
Your characters bond over a certain book or a book cart, right?
Kristen's character is like taking these books, because that's part of the absurdity about what's going on there, and like kind of the there's a real levity to the movie that I don't think people are expecting, because there's a real absurd nature to what's going on. Kristen's character wants to be this like tough soldier, but half of the time it's just like you're giving them food or bringing them books or doing their laundry, and so that's what she was saying about she trained to be the soldier, but like what they're really doing is not. I mean, it's intense, but like they also spend a lot of time forced to do these really menial tasks, which I think really messes with the head of the soldiers that are down there to do that. But they get in this discussion about the book cart, and Payman's character is a huge Harry Potter fan.
He's just obsessed with Harry
Which
Potter.
has some very
so
interesting,
funny.
strange.
Yeah, and once he was telling me something about Snape. In that, I said, "What is the Snape thing in this script?" And he said, "Snape is a character in Harry Potter. Don't you read Harry Potter?" And I said, "No, I don't read kids' books." No.
I think you're going to walk away from this film thinking about the men down at Guantanamo Bay and what we should do with the facility and what we should do with those men. And I really think this film is going to invoke those questions.
Yeah, and I think that's the important point. Is like it's about the question, not the answer. We tried to make the movie very apolitical and like not propaganda at all.
I like how you put it a second ago. You're like, it's just this immovable object.
We just treated like, okay, Guantanamo exists. We can't change that, and
Right.
the characters can't change it, so they're not even going to address
So we're not
changing
gonna
it.
think about
There's
it.
no,
Yeah, exactly.
the movie will not think that anything can be changed. Would just say this is just how it is now. What happens inside that box?
And then there's a suggestion. I mean, at the end there's I'm just saying, like, I'm not giving anything
No
away,
spoilers.
but it's
Yeah.
I don't know how to finish that sentence, but it's
there's always a touch of hope even in the darkest corners.
Thank you for finishing that thought.